Who else? Hello. We family.
My name's Rakim.
Hi, Rakim.
I want to know what the attitude is of a wealthy person because it seems like sometimes they're assholes. And I want to know, is that just my judgment
No,
of
they're
them?
broke assholes too. They're just less tolerable.
So I want to know I want to know their mindset.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. There's actually a thing to that. Yeah. Who else? Yeah. I'm looking at you. No? Okay.
My question already been answered.
Asked, okay. But what's your name?
Jazz.
JS. JS?
Jazz, like the music.
Okay, Jazz. Okay, got it. Yes?
My name's I'm Soul, and I had a question that got asked, so let me just freestyle this. If wealth is a perspective in someone else's mind, how can you tell them that they are not wealthy? Do you understand what I'm saying?
If wealth is a
Thank you, bro.
perspective in somebody's mind.
Like, let's say you have a poor person, right? But he doesn't mind his state of living, you know. So he's like, I am wealthy because I got this box and I got these trash cans full of food. But to you, he's poor. You know what I'm saying? How do you get somebody to shift their consciousness to being, look, man, you are poor, you know, or would you shift them out of that if they're okay with it? My bad.
You already answered that?
Did I answer it?
I don't know. Did you answer your question?
Yeah, that's my question.
Oh, okay.
I didn't answer it though. I hope not.
It just sounded rhetorical, but yeah, we'll touch on that. Yeah.
See?
My name is Rochelle.
Hi, Rochelle.
Hi. My question is, when you're in a relationship, how do you manage if you have different styles and one person is, you know, more of a spender or something like that, and just different ways of looking at money? How do you manage building a wealthy relationship?
Okay. Excellent. Excellent questions, all of them. And I promise you I have retained them all. Anybody else with any other questions? Anybody else?
How you
Aruba?
budget small, how you budget like, I would say small money and make wise investments in order to grow
Oh, yes. Okay. Yep.
still be able to eat healthy and do all that healthy stuff too, without compromising.
Yeah. That's a great question.
My name is Tiffany,
Hi, Tiffany.
and I wanted to know if investing in things that you're not necessarily interested in, but that is lucrative, is that a wise thing to do?
Say it again.
If investing in things that you're not necessarily interested in or passionate about, but you know it's lucrative or a good investment to do, is that wise to do? Like, say, real estate or investing in someone else's business.
Okay. Good, so we can check this.
Hi, my name's Trinell.
Hi, Trinell.
Hi. If I wanted to make sure that my wealth got down to my descendants,
Yes.
I know one way you can do that is like put it in a trust so that they can't spend down the principal. Are there other vehicles for doing that?
Yep.
We'll talk about that.
Yep. We can talk about that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I had, you know, when a man puts his arms around your waist, it's just special. Let's just take a moment. Especially when he's about to put your batteries on.
He just grinning.
Right. Thank you, sir. All right. So how many of you already own your own businesses and consider yourselves entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, self-employed? Everybody almost. Okay. Great. That makes it very easy for me to talk about this stuff. Okay, and how many of you would be okay with me saying stuff that you may not necessarily agree and might actually piss you off?
Great.
Okay. Yeah, this is my class. Excellent. All right, so, like Tiffany said, my name is Monikah. I'm Dr. Monikah Ogando. And just to give you a little bit about my background, for 15 years I have had my own companies. And the first one was 2 years out of college. My first career was as a financial planner. And I went into the company as an executive assistant. And you know, you can only go so far in that career. And I asked one of the executive vice presidents that was also female, I said, who makes the most money in this company? She said, the brokers. I said, okay, how do I become a broker? And she said, well, you have to be sponsored. And I didn't know what that meant. And I said, well, you sponsor me. And she's like, well, you have to study hard, and you know, you have to pass a lot of exams because you have to get licensed to be able to sell certain financial products. And I just came from taking like 18, 19 credits per semester so I can graduate early in college. So what she was saying was nothing to me. And so I got ready to study some more. I felt like I was going to graduate school, and I got a gazillion licenses to sell life insurance, to sell stocks, to sell bonds, to sell mutual funds, to sell all manner of financial products. And I got really clear about who was my customer and who was my ideal client. The people that I was attracting and the people that I was serving and that I made the most money from by serving them were all entrepreneurs. They all had their own business. I didn't have trust fund babies. I didn't have divorcees that lucked out because they married Donald Sterling for 30 years and now, you know, Tiger Woods. None of those people were my customers. They were all self-employed entrepreneurs. They owned and led companies. And they have very different concerns than people who have a job. You know, when you have a job, somebody else assigns you what mutual funds you have available in a retirement account, a 401k, and then you can only, you know, contribute so much. When you're an entrepreneur, you get to decide all of those things. The difficulty is that a lot of us come from a job mentality, and so you try to apply this job mentality to an entrepreneurial environment or an entrepreneurial platform, and you fall flat on your face. And so there's a transition period there, and there's a trial and error period there, which then translates money-wise to a feast and famine cycle. Are you with me?
Yes.
Can you relate?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that I did, this was around the late 90s, early 2000s. And around that time, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer.
Wow.
And was, you know, there's no stage 5. Stage 5 is the funeral. And so I was in shock, I was numb, and I was at a position where it's one of these, you know, like Robert Frost says, you have to take the road less traveled, and that made all the difference. And so I found myself at a crossroads. What do you want to do? You want to live or you want to die? Because if you want to live, there are certain decisions that you have to make and certain plans and certain ways that you have to move around in your life that are completely irrelevant to somebody who's planning to die. And if you want to die, then all that stuff that you would talk about, if you wanted to live, that's irrelevant to somebody who's planning to die. So you have to first decide that. And I decided to live. And so the chemotherapy thing, the radiotherapy thing, those were not available to me. I was too, quote unquote, far gone. And all they could do was ease my pain. I was not in pain, which was a red flag to me. It's like, okay, clueless city, these doctors. And so for me, it became a question of, if I'm going to live, then I have to worry about, or I have to really focus on the quality of my life, and particularly because at the time I had a 3-year-old daughter, and am I going to live a life that is easy? Like I was just like done with the struggle and done with the hustle of that particular environment, that corporate environment. I was done with it. Around this time also the internet was becoming a veritable platform for commerce. So people weren't doing, they were shifting from having a relationship with a broker to going to E-Trade or Scottrade, you know, all those other platforms so that they can do their own investments. And they're like, why do I need you and pay you commissions when I could just do my own trading? Shit. So I had to get really smart. I had to get smart, and I figured out, okay, there's something that I'm doing relationship-wise. There's something that I'm doing in my conversations, in how I'm posturing myself as an expert, how I am developing trust with the person across from me, so that they cut me a $500,000 check so that I can go invest it and give them an ROI. How do I codify that? And so I spent about 6 months with that trial and error. And that became a curriculum that my bosses liked, and they sent me all over the country to teach it to other sales associates and other financial planners and so forth. And came performance review time. Are you guys familiar with that?
Yes.
Does anybody like it?
No.
Yeah. Except the ones giving it, of course. Right? You have to sign off on somebody else's favorites. So they were about to fire me in this performance review situation. Hey, Nicole! Hi. Did you come down from Detroit?
Yeah.
You mean you drove?
Yeah.
Oh,
We had someone come from Amsterdam.
what? Hey, see? There's a song in my head. I can't sing it right now. Okay. So,
Yes, you can.
huh?
Yes, you can.
I don't know the name of this band, but it's two white guys, and they said, and I will walk 500 miles, and I will walk 500 more to be the man who walks
They're twins.
500 miles and falls right at your door.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. So I decided that I was going to take my lumps and take my losses. They said, well, we'll give you a very generous severance package, but we'll keep your intellectual property.
Okay.
Well, here's what happened. If I had signed an intellectual property, they have you sign a W-2 and a this and a that and confidentiality. Well, the intellectual property agreement was one of the pieces of paper that you would have signed had I not been paying attention. I didn't sign it. And so they were like, yes, she did. Everybody signs it when they get employed here. And they went to my personnel file, and sure enough, there wasn't one.
Good for you.
So now
Oh,
my the negotiating tables were in my favor. So you see that I have like white girl hair and everything, but this is black. Black. So I said, okay, so here's what we finna do.
Yes.
The executive vice president, that was my mentor, she was Puerto Rican, so when I said that, she's like, this girl, we're about to shell out some money. So yes, they cut me a 6-figure check. For a package, right? So the agreement was that I was going to now be a consultant, and I was going to teach them how to do this thing that was meeting and exceeding the quotas that I had as a sales associate. And that then when they had any kind of derivative copyright, in other words, when they would do some trainings based off of what I created,
You get a check.
I would get a licensing fee for that as well. Thank you. Hashtag the boss. So
Yes.
I went to the accounting office and they said, who do we make the check out to? Well, first they said, we can FedEx it to you or you can pick it up on Friday. I said, I'll pick it up on Friday. Because I was still kind of like in a disbelief.
Right.
And, okay, so who do we make the check out to? And I was like, I don't know, Ogando Associates. It is my last name, and associates make it sound very professional and big, corporate-y, right? I was like proud. I was like, ooh, Ogando Associates. So now I have to rush home. I got on the internet. I got on sunbiz.org. If any of you are from Florida, that's the Secretary of State website. Incorporated my company. Went to irs.gov. Got an EIN number. So that with the articles of incorporation, all of our critters, hopefully they're taking notes too. So got the articles of incorporation, the EIN, went to the bank, opened an account, so I can cash this check. Because otherwise, it would have just been a meaningless piece of paper. That's how my first company was funded.
Nice.
And I spent the next several years teaching how to attract and retain clients, especially high net worth clients. What do you say? Where do you hang out? How do you engage them, especially when they don't know you? When you're walking into a room of rich people, and you're the Johnny-come-lately, and nobody knows you, and they don't know what credibility you have, or what licenses, or what certifications, or if you even have them, then how do you engage in the conversation such that people are like, yeah, let me take your card, and I want to talk to you further. That was the program. And I made a lot of money teaching that. So because I had already learned a lot from my clients who were already themselves wealthy and already themselves entrepreneurs, I started then creating like 4 buckets. So one bucket was my operational expenses in the business. These are the things that it takes for myself to live and for the company to exist. Those are the operational expenses. Then I had investments. And then I had passive revenue and real estate. That's how I divvied up revenue. And so my intention at the very beginning of my company was, again, you have to remember, that I'm dealing with cancer and I don't know how things are going to turn out, and that I wanted to leave something for my daughter. Are you recording all of this? Because I'm about to confess to crime. No, I'm not. I got life insurance, right? I got all of the stuff that you're supposed to get so that you can take care of yourself financially, right? Savings account, all that. So I learned that you don't have to be passionate about what you're doing in order to make a lot of money. But you do have to be committed to what you're doing in order to make a lot of money. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
So I also learned that just like, and I was telling this to Marche earlier today, that you know how God makes us in its image and likeness. And with us as humans, everything that we make is in our image and likeness. And so our businesses are our creation, and they very much carry the same life cycle as a human being. And they carry the same phases of growth as a human being. And they also have those same concerns. Here's what I mean. A human being, let's say that the average lifespan, let's call it 100 years, just for the sake of rounding up. And the first, say, 10 to 12 years, I would call infancy or childhood. And then you have adolescence, and then you have adulthood, and that's the longest period. And then you have old age, and then you face your mortality, and then you're done. And that roughly takes about 100 years. Well, a business is kind of the same way. And you can take that 100 and you can cut it down. There are some companies that are like shooting stars, and in 5 years they've gone through all 4 phases. Some of them go through all 4 phases in a couple of months, especially startups and technology and things that move really fast. So I'm going to tell you some of those phases and some of the characteristics, and I want you to raise your hand and let me know where your business is. Okay? And remember, this is the friends and family conversation. All right? So there's no shame, no judgment. Right? No shame, no blame. What is it? No shame, no blame? No shame, no blame. Yes. I'm being quizzed by your Kim's. All right. So infancy for a company is when you're first starting out, and just like a baby can't hold up their neck, and they don't have those motor skills, they can't walk, you have to carry them everywhere. The business is like that too. You either have to invest money in it, or the bootstrapping thing, which is actually very, if you don't have a plan, it's very abusive on you as the generator of the business, and on the business because you kind of have to fly the plane as you're building it, right? So that's typically when you're between 0 and we'll say $50,000 a year. I would actually up it to about 75. And you're doing everything yourself. You hardly have any help. Your version of keeping books is either a shoebox or a filing cabinet or